I was putting this show together. I was very careful in terms of what terminology to use so that it would be appropriate and you and your wife would feel comfortable coming to answer these questions. So I really took a lot of extra care in putting the show together. So I hope the community would learn from it. Do you feel that everybody in Ganawage that has this type of challenge gets labeled bipolar, schizophrenia? You know,
I believe there's a certain amount of labeling that people give to those kind of people. You know, I've met a lot of people that have that disorder within our community, and like I said earlier, I've learned a lot about it. So I was able to talk to people and kind of understand that they may have a problem. And as far as those labeling, I still use the phrase that they have a disorder. There's a disorder. Maybe a long time ago, we used to use the word crazy, stupid, or whatever, or have all these other phrases that they used to use. But after learning a lot about it, I've learned to approach it and call it for what the proper name is for it.
so now, how has the community treated you now that you're on meds and everything's back to normal?
Like I mentioned earlier, there were people that had seen me and just have a certain opinion of me. And, there's the ridicule and like being ostracized and such. But hey, what can I do? That's the way they look at me. I can't change them. I can only change the way I react to them.
Do you think we need more education in Ganawage in terms of workshops, seminars for this special population?
Most definitely. Like I said, I've met so many people, professionally or as friends, and there's a lot of services that are out here at KSCS, and a support group for people with bipolar or schizophrenia would be great.
Most definitely.
To get those people together, to help them. And some of them will not come out of the house, will stay home, and will not, just because of the way they feel, they are scared to come out in public. And if they could come out to a support group and sit there and talk to people and feel better about themselves, it would bring their self-esteem up. It would give them their confidence, and they won't be sitting at home scared to come out of the house, and they'll be given the opportunity to participate in whatever activities are going on within the community.
So how do you both feel about people that may have this mental challenge, whatever it may be, but they want to work? Because I've seen it in the past where they get the label that they cannot work because they have this mental disorder.
I believe people that have the disorder can work, maybe not to the degree as other people do, but they still have the opportunity to go out there and to support themselves, to go to work and to be occupied. Like I says, a lot of people the first fear they have is to come out of the house. They'd rather stay home or stay in their own little comfort zone. But they can come out and they can work if not full-time, part-time, just to, to say that they are part of the community and contributing to the community and to themselves.
So to help them build their self-esteem.
That's right.
What about family members or anybody that have you come across that have this type of disorder?
Well, my advice to them would be just to give that family member who has a disorder all the support that they can, and be very patient. Learn as much as you can about the disorder, and not to leave that person at home. Have them come out, and come out in public. Enjoy life,
What can the community do as a whole to better support people with bipolar disorder and all the different disorders that are out there?
There's a long ways to go towards the education, taking the stigma away, sorry. We have a long ways to go because people are still thinking in backwards terms because there's not enough education out there. I'd like to add something else. With this disorder, a person burns a lot of bridges because of bad activity. And a person, when, like myself, that was in a manic state, will do a lot of off-the-wall things, lose friends, act horribly, unspeakably sometimes. So sometimes the community doesn't understand that when you're in one of these states of mania, you're not thinking about the consequences, or you're not thinking about your family, you're not thinking about anything at the time. It's just happening. A person doesn't choose this. If I had life to do over, I would choose not to have this. This is no blessing, believe me.
It can happen to anybody, and it doesn't necessarily happen at a younger age. It usually hits later on in life. It peaks out.
Thank you for both coming today and shedding light on this topic.
My pleasure.
I hope we've gotten the message out properly, and I want to thank you, Michael, for this opportunity.
We've come to the end of another episode of Walk in My World. If you have any comments or questions, you can email me at walkinmyworld@yahoo.ca. Ona.
You could see on this graph here, very simply, 4 different types of mood disorders. The first one you could see here, number 1, is the common major depression. This exists in about 5 to 10% of psychological conditions of the population, sorry. What it basically you have here is the normal mood range up here. And so you have fluctuations in stress levels as well as in your mood. And then you could see a groundward spiraling, which then hits sort of bottom. And this we call a severe, an episode of severe depression. This may last for at least 3 weeks and then gradually subside with the interventions of either psychotherapy, support, or with medication. Oftentimes, cognitive behavioral approaches are very effective, along with antidepressant medication. The second one we have here is called dysthymia. Okay, now that's a big word. We had trouble spelling it ourselves. D-Y-S-T-H-Y-M-I-A. What you see here, the difference is in the normal mood range up here. The person who has dysthymia tends to be up and down, but never really reaching a normal level. And so it's a long-standing, mild form of depression. Sometimes these individuals will also experience a major episode as well, but generally these individuals within the last year are experiencing more sort of gloomy, depressive days than happy days or good days. The third type here is often referred to as bipolar disorder. And here we have, again, in the dark area here, the normal mood range, which through childhood and adolescence may be sort of within the normal range. But then for some unexplained reason, this individual mood level increases actually very, very high. The person feels very elated, very happy, is on top of the world, and in fact is a little too manic, meaning that this individual has ideas of conquering the world, buying, spending a lot of money, somewhat out of control, and then followed by a crash, which is again below the normal mood range and all the way down here, and followed by this erratic sort of up and down kind of flow. The last one is number 4 here is cyclothymia, which basically is a milder mood swing than the bipolar, but you could see it's slightly above the normal range for periods of excitement and elation up here, and then slightly lower when they're depressed. But you don't have that erratic up and down that we see in bipolar disorder. So this one is characterized by milder mood swings than the others, that the bipolar. What is driving on a biomedical level a lot of this mood is 2 neural messengers in the brain, and one of them is called dopamine, which is responsible for our high activity level, and secondly serotonin, which is the other neurotransmitter, which is responsible mostly for our mood, our happiness, so to speak.
More than 14% of all Canadians have a disability. For Aboriginal First Nation Canadians, there are 33% of people living with disabilities. People living with disabilities are subject to exclusion, poverty, and isolation. There are higher rates of depression, suicide, violence, and abuse for people with disabilities. We know that for Aboriginal Canadians with disabilities, all these rates and percentages are even higher. Statistics according to Independent Living Canada